Welcome to the Playful Domme, the Poly Wife, and the Virgin podcast, where we share our most intimate stories, experiences, and details of our love lives, our intimacy lives, our play lives, and giving you the opportunity to gaze in and get a glimpse of what could be possible in your life as well. As we share our stories, our adventures, we weave in tips, tricks, and techniques to help build your confidence, boost your courage, and give you the opportunity to ask for what you want in your life. Welcome to the podcast. Oh, and just a couple of quick thoughts before we get started. One, we are just everyday people. We are not professionals, licensed therapists, anything like that. This is for edutainment purposes only. This is not medical advice or legal advice, financial advice, nothing like that. Listen at your own discretion. And this is for mature audiences. We're going into deep subjects and sharing deeply about intimacy and all the things about that. So just notice who you're around and let's go.
Wow. Hey, everyone. I've got Amy back here with me this week, and she was just reminding me that about something. And I don't want to take up the whole time about this, but this is a really unbelievably fantastic opportunity to show you how well polyamory works. Amy and Orion came down because it was my birthday this last week, and they came down to celebrate with us. And we've had a fantastic weekend. It's wonderful. And today happens to be their 20th wedding anniversary. And so it's lovely that it's their 20th wedding anniversary. And the funny thing is that I'm a really good girlfriend, a great meta to Amy, because Orion and she had told me in the past that what she wanted for her 20th anniversary was salsa dancing lessons. And he's like,
that sounds kind of sassy.
Right? Doesn't that sound like fun?
Yeah.
And he's like, I know, I just haven't gotten around to it. I'm so busy when I get home. And I was like, well, you guys are going to be in Sarasota and there's a place right around the corner. I'll just book it and we'll make it happen. It'll be fine. And he goes, really? Okay. This was like 2 months ago. And then as Amy and I are on the phone over the last couple of weeks planning this trip, she's like, you know, I'm really disappointed because it was such a simple ask. All I wanted was, salsa dancing lessons for our anniversary. I wanted it for years and it's never happened. And I'm on the other side of the phone going,
yeah, exactly.
Because
little does she know,
right? And I've invited people that she knows and all that. So they get here. We have a lovely birthday, and she has no idea that we have planned this for her. And I make a really nice dinner. I made some pasta. He loves butternut squash pasta sauce. So I made a pasta sauce for them, handmade the pasta. We had a lovely dinner. And then there was a group munch, which is a meetup for people who are in the lifestyle so that they can meet casually at a restaurant and just hang out. And there was a munch. And I said, oh, we're going to the munch. And then about a half an hour before we were supposed to go, we said, we're not actually going to the munch. We are going for salsa dancing lessons. Yay! So we were all excited. And we went. We had a really fantastic time. And one of the things that is important is that we spent a lot of time together last year, and we never Orion and I never actually got a lot of dating time, like out to dinner and a romantic time together. And so Amy, before she came down, she says, I really want to make sure that the two of you have time together, and so that you can and have your own time together. And I was like, wow, that's really awesome. I would really appreciate that. That would be great. And it's not about, hugging on the couch. It's literally going out on a date. But our time is, because we had so many activities planned for my birthday, our time is short. So when is our date? Tonight. On their 20th
on their 20th anniversary. Wow.
Yes. And the funny thing is the first thing I remembered was, and he happened to be working over Valentine's Day this year. And he ended up in Florida on Valentine's Day while he was working this year. And so he and I got to spend a night at the Ritz-Carlton in Naples.
Wow, that
On
sounds
the
pretty
beach
fancy.
on
Swanky.
Valentine's Day. And now I'm getting to go out to dinner with him and have a romantic night with him on their 20th anniversary. And it's happening because my husband has band practice tonight, and Amy and my husband really love playing music together, and it's their only opportunity to have an actual practice together. So the two, Amy and Orion, renegotiated their date night to do it back home next week at their favorite restaurant. And she gets to go do what she loves to do. And I get to have a date with my boyfriend, and everybody is happy and everybody is getting their needs met. And she got this fantastic anniversary present, which she really wanted. And so everybody's happy because
Again, I think it goes back to being transparent and open. I think that's fantastic. And making sure that, again, obviously, hi, Amy, making sure that everybody, speaks about their needs. And I think that's fantastic.
I agree.
And so it's the best part of what poly is about. Everybody. And, we decided that we have to get t-shirts made. Metamour is the term for our partner's partner. And so Orion and I are going to get t-shirts that say music is my meta. And only people who are polyamorous would actually get that. But it's true because both my husband and his wife really love music and could spend all their time with music in some form or fashion. And I have had to actually compete with my husband's bands and his church choirs and all of his musical. That has always been his mistress has always been music. And so now music is my meta, and we've just adapted to it. And it just happens that I can celebrate his 20th wedding anniversary with him.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm still blown away by, the
dynamic.
Yeah, I'm absolutely. But again, it works for everybody because I'll say it one more time, because everybody's transparent, and I think that's amazing.
I think that has everything to do with being authentic. And the more, and the truth of the matter is, the more authentic a meta is, the more safe I feel. If my meta is like reserved, or we don't get on, or whatever, that always makes me feel a little more threatened, because you're not willing to just tell me how you feel or what's going on or what's up, even in your life, not even with in regard to the relationship. It's like, I just want to know that I like surrounding myself with really beautiful people. And part of polyamory has to be the place where you begin to think of people in terms of how you love them. That doesn't have to do with you being, doing, or having that experience. I can love you enough to want you to have a beautiful experience, even if I'm not in it.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Which is what we want for our friends.
Yeah.
Why don't we want it for our lovers too?
So let me ask you, so what percentage of the polyamorous group, right, or lifestyle are as transparent as you guys?
Oh,
and authentic as you guys?
We're not unique.
Okay, that's great to hear.
I'm also in another relationship with a man where my meta is really struggling with the fact that we have a relationship. She's saying, nope, you can't see each other. Nope, you can't even be friends and meet each other for coffee. No, you can't. So she's placing rules on a relationship. So I actually ended the romantic relationship. And I was just like, well, let's meet for coffee. And now I have come to find out this weekend that that's even bad. And it's funny because my husband thinks that I should reach out and talk to her and help her feel better, but her feelings aren't my responsibility. And that's been a hard lesson for me. It's like, I'm not responsible for fixing other people's feelings.
Yeah.
I'm not the owner of the reason they're having their feelings. I can't fix them. Now, can I be compassionate? My compassionate move was to stop having sex with her boyfriend.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, right.
It's like my compassion was not really actually saying, hey, choose her or me. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
He's bringing something up for her and she needs time to process that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's great, but she should be able to process that. And I should be able to have my relationship.
You know, it's something came up recently in a conversation I had that I found surprisingly interesting falling out of my mouth. So it must have been divinely inspired.
This was good.
And that is that every single thing that I or you or this meta comes up with, you come up with it out of your own head.
Mm-hmm.
You have come to that conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
That meta came to whatever abandonment issues she has. She came to those conclusions inside her own head at whatever age that happened. That was a conclusion that she made. Abandonment is an issue. It's going to happen to me. Then as she plays out her life and she sees something that she feels threatened by or wants to take back or feels like there's a robber in the house, still a conclusion she came to in her own head. And the only way to undo that conclusion is for her to come to it in her own head.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a fear of spiders or snakes or whatever, that's a conclusion you came to that's a dangerous thing.
Yeah, right.
Right? And once you overcome your fear, you came to that conclusion from in here. We can be supportive and we can be helpful. We can try to give coaching advice and coaching support and loving support, but it's still a conclusion you have to come to, or I have to come to, or a meta has to come to
on their own. And the
in
thing
her
is
own
that
head.
I'm not ethically, I am bound not to talk to her or handle her unless she comes to me and asks me.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
She isn't coming to me.
Mm-hmm.
She isn't talking to me. She accused me of something in a group chat, and I didn't answer because I'm not guilty of what she's accusing me of. I have no reason to defend myself, and she didn't address that accusation at me. She just alluded to me, right?
Yeah.
So I'm about direct communication, and that's how it works. So we have direct communication. Hey, it's really important that you have some romantic time with my husband. Okay, great. Well, I'm open to when that can happen.
Yeah. It just happens that it's on this day.
That it's happening today.
Cracks me up.
So
Cracks me up.
So so I'm a perfect example of being in a relationship where everything works and being in a relationship where nothing is working at exactly the same time. Yeah. The only thing that is actually working is the communication between me and my lover.
Yeah.
Because he and I are clear that his relationship with her is theirs and his relationship with me is mine. Yeah. He is choosing to abide by her rules and her feel, and we can be together once she feels better. The truth is that won't happen automatically. Once she could feel better tomorrow, and I'm not going to get back into a relationship with him because he's counting on her feelings being okay with our relationship, which means my relationship will always be rocky with him until he is able to have a relationship in spite of her feelings.
Yeah, right.
And that reminds me of the things that Brené Brown talks about with regard to boundaries. And the one thing that she said is the absolute most compassionate, loving, gentle, kind humans that she's ever been around have been the most boundaried people. They've set out the very clear structure of what they're comfortable with and what they're not comfortable with. Then there's no drama and there's no upset and there's no whatever. Because it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not comfortable with that. Or that's not a possibility. Mm-hmm. That's not an option, but we can explore other things.
Mm-hmm.
So boundaries to me is because again, I'm a pleaser. I think a lot of women are, right? I mean, it's our nurturing nature, but it's one of the biggest things that I've learned through our conversations as well is about boundaries and being able to own our own power and say, no, either I want this or no, thank you. Just in general life, right? Whether you choose to go to have dinner with somebody or whatever it is, I mean, it's on a much simpler scale. And it's been really good. I've said no a lot.
Well, one of the things that I listened to over and over again this week in the More Than Two book, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't quote well, and I only have it on audio, so I can't grab the book, is that boundaries are instituted for ourselves.
Yeah.
It's not like I was talking to a friend, we were roughhousing at a pool party the other day, and he pulled my hair back, and I said, I'm not okay with you pulling my neck back. I don't like my hair pulled a lot, but if you pulled it up, I'd be fine. But if you're pulling it back hurts my neck. I don't like it. Please don't do that. That's a boundary. I'm saying, in terms of the boundary is about me. Rules are often created to control other people. Boundaries are to control my space, and rules are meant to control other spaces.
So, that's very well said.
Right? So her boundary, most poly people who say they don't have a lot of boundaries generally say, like, for instance, Amy's boundary in her polyamorous relationship. Well, what are your boundaries in your polyamorous relationship? It's not okay for me to speak for you.
You're so sweet. I still would like you to remind me.
Okay. Boundaries are basically be safe. That's the number one.
Those ones. Yes, I can
so
tell
your
those.
boundary is like, what's your boundary?
The boundaries are, you have to be safe, which means you don't bring anything home in terms of STDs or any kinds of like that. You must be honest, absolutely honest with anybody you're going to date, that you're in a long-term relationship, you're not going anywhere, and you're available to be connected, but you're not available to leave this and go there. The other boundary was, had three. Well, at the time, the other one was that I wanted her to live far away so that I didn't
see her.
Wonder. No, so that if I didn't wonder if he went off to the grocery store and it took him too long. Did he go see her and didn't tell me? I didn't, in the beginning, I needed to know that. It's a funny thing. She lives in Sarasota and we live in Indiana.
Right.
That's not been a requirement for quite some time though. So those were the first ones that we had. And we later came up with one because we had trouble with this. We later came up with one that if we see any signs of somebody who is purposefully driving a wedge.
Oh, yes.
We agree, we're done.
Okay.
That there is no, that if I bring it up and I explain and show it to him and he starts to look at it for himself and see that there is malicious intent, we're done.
Love it.
Because even if we like you, if I can see that you're angling to do something underhanded, and there was one that she had a history of going to taken men and specifically try to take them.
And that was her thing she liked to do, apparently.
So the boundaries are about creating the playground, right? This is the space in which we can play. But the rules being in the rules happen. So in my relationship with my lover, the boundaries were go ahead and date, but the only days that you're allowed to see each other are the nights that I'm not with you, are this Mondays and Fridays. Those were our rules. But I spent the night and suddenly, oh no, you can't have overnights. Well, the first rule was, oh, you had an overnight. Well, you can't have any more overnights until I meet her.
Oh, yeah. I think we spoke about that.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a rule. That's not okay. That's not a boundary. That's a rule. So I have somebody managing my relationship who actually isn't in my relationship. That doesn't get to happen. That's not okay. So, and that's why I had to end the relationship, but I was like, but we can still be friends and wait this out and then see what happens, right?
Yeah.
So that's it. So once he's clear what the difference is between boundaries and rules and is allowed to have his own relationships truly, then we'll have a great relationship. We're totally in love, not in love, but we love each other and we want to be together. But I'm not pining for him. I don't miss him. I'm clear that I can't be with somebody who has rules imposed, right?
Yeah.
So
and I think imposing rules there's a difference between that and negotiation.
Absolutely.
This is what I'm, having a conversation about something. with me and my husband, these are the things I'm comfortable with. How do you feel about it? And that's always how I have those conversations with him, is this makes me uncomfortable. How do you feel?
Right.
Can you, what do you see that's happening in this, whatever experience or situation? And so we have a negotiation, a conversation about it. And there's always questions. I always ask lots of questions.
Yep.
It isn't an ultimatum until the one was like, I could see what she was doing, and she was twisting him and hurting him on purpose because she was trying to do a push and pull until she could move to the place where it's her or me. And I was like, Orion, I can see this.
Right.
Look at it for yourself and watch what's happening. And that's when he made a decision on his own. So I like the conversation that happens when we negotiate what we're both comfortable with, instead of ultimatums.
Right. So in the book, they call it boundaries, rules, and agreements, because you can totally have rules, but it's because all the parties agree to something. That's what it is. So that I just wanted to sort of show the positives of what the best that polyamory can be. And it also turned into, there are negatives too, but it happens. But yeah, so that it doesn't have.
I love it. I love it. I love it. It still amazes me. I love your honesty and transparency. Hey, Jess, I don't know how your service is right now. I'd love to hear. I need a new tool. You guys, Lisa, do you need a new tool? Like let's have Jess teach us something.
I am telling you, I have been having so much fun with the hand jobs. I'm telling you, I'm having a great time. I'm really having a good time. I think I've tried them on 2 different men, and I've got she's got the Johnny twist, and I'm like, oh, I've got my own. I just haven't named it yet, but I was in the middle of giving this guy it. And you know what? I've decided that there are 2, let's talk about sex. We don't have to talk about polyamory specifically. I will say this. There are blowjobs and there's cock worship. And cock worship is so much more fun. I think blowjobs, I would define blowjobs as strictly imitating vaginal, sex.
Yeah.
And cock worship is more along the lines of what Jess does, which is just really enjoying the entire area, the entire region. And actually, one of my lovers said that he got a blowjob that went from his knees to his nipples. And it was the most amazing blowjob he'd ever gotten. And see, it was his body, not his penis.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that I can say for sure that in the last couple of weeks, I've grown to redefine what a blowjob is and recognize that it's way more interesting and fun if you turn it into sort of cock worship. So I'd really love Jess's opinion about that.
I know. Thanks, Jess, on that. Let's see what else she has to talk to us about today.
Something that I want to really impress upon women is that when you take the stance away from like, oh, I'm feeling obligated to do this thing because I know he's going to like it and it's going to turn him on and make him happy, right? But actually taking it on as this is something that I love to do. Like I love, like Lisa said, cock worship. I absolutely worship the man I'm seeing his cock. I've recognized that there's about maybe every 10 years there's an epic lover, and this one is the one after 20 years. 10 years is the epic lover, and I have a very distinct personal relationship exclusively with his cock. I want to make sure you guys can hear me before I keep going.
Oh
yeah, we can hear you. Keep
absolutely
going.
Riveted.
Yeah, keep going. We're on the edge of our seats. Jess,
Okay.
go.
Okay. So here's the thing. Like for men to feel your desire will hands down change the course of your relationship. If they feel like that you are just getting on your knees or whatever, doing whatever it is, just to da 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 da, because it's the thin da da da, like you can hear that. They feel that. Even if you think that even you can moan and fake it as much as you want, from an energetic standpoint, their body is paying attention. Their body can read you. They know what's going on, and it creates a separation because you're in a state of lying. You're being dishonest. about how you actually feel in the situation. Now, can you get into a state where you're enjoying yourself? Absolutely. I love Josh's cock. I'm so in love with his cock. I have my own relationship with him. He knows this. Like in the morning, like either my hand or my mouth or my pussy is on his cock pretty much all of the time. That's not in public, and even then. So, and he has and he's so over the moon about it because he can see how much I adore. It's a devotional, worshiping love for his cock. And he is an amazing human. So he knows, like, I adore him and I have this other relationship. So, for instance, he was driving me to the airport, to Atlanta. Not a fun drive, and it's early in the morning. But, you know, I just was feeling a little saucy. I had asked him a few days before if he had ever gotten a blowjob while he was on the road. And he was like, not really, kind of thing. So, you know, it wasn't fully sunrise yet. It's pretty dark out still. We have like a 40-minute drive to the airport. So I gave him like an epic blowjob while he's driving. I'm 41 years old. I am acting like a teenager right now. And it's amazing. It is so fun. And he is just like, he's so losing his mind. He's so happy. He's not. And thank God, men, please do not shove your woman's head on your cock. I cannot stand that. That is like one of my biggest, personally for me, that's one of my biggest no-nos. So he's like, and he doesn't even know that. He just intuitively just lets me do my thing. And like, you know, every 5 minutes I'll kind of like pop up and be like, so how's it going? And he's like, you know, panting as he's driving and trying to like focus and like, you know, like going crazy. And this is great because this is my send off to him as I leave for 5 days. So I'm doing that. And some women, like in a different timeline of my life, it could definitely have been as manipulation. Like, oh, I don't want him thinking about anybody else but me. And da 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 da.
Oh,
but like now I'm just like, you know, I'm like, no, I love his cock. He's known that. I've been building this relationship with him for two weeks every single day with like massive amounts of sex. We've had more sex in 2 weeks than I think most couples have in like years. So it's like, it's phenomenal. And I have a great story. So I'm giving him the blowjob and, you know, like all this stuff basically for like the entire ride to the airport. And I was complaining about how I'm like, oh, I hate how they have you get to the airport so early. Like, so stupid. Like, can't stand it, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, well, I could check in my bag and then we'll have free time. It's not so bad. Then we'll have some free time. So we'll have at least like a half hour, you know, something like that. So, so we pull up. I hop out to like check my bag. Some miraculous way, there's like nobody in line. I'm able to go basically right up to the front, and I'm checking my bag, and it's like this really great, you know, vibrant. She's not super vibrant. She's still waking up. Woman behind the counter, and I was like, you know, do I have enough time? Do I have any free time between now and when I have to check in? She's like, yeah. She's like, why? Do you want to do you need to get some food or something? And I was like, no, I want a few extra minutes to make out with my boyfriend. And then
did you say that, Jess?
Yes.
Oh,
and then the agent next to, it gets better. The agent next to her was like, did I just hear you correctly? That you want to like make out with your boyfriend? I was like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I gave him a blowjob on the drive down. So,
oh God, Jess, this is like the best. Go ahead.
And the agent was like, girl, go in and get another one. And she handed me a mint, like a big ass mint. Yeah. And she told me to go on and get another one. So as I'm walking away, they're like, I could hear their laughter like bellowing through the airport. Yeah. And I'm like, this is going to spread like wildfire.
Exactly.
So like I'm walking up, I'm like calling Josh and I'm like, you know, I said this to the gate agents and he's laughing, which is great, right? I'm so grateful that he's not like prudish or like trying to hide. Like he thinks it's great. And so we're debating, like, do we go to a cell phone lot to make out more, or what do we do? And we're like, parking garage. And he's like, we should definitely get the closest as possible for you to the airport, like make it as easy as possible. Oh, thank you. It's very, very considerate. So we get into the airport parking lot garage. We end up getting in the back of his SUV and had sex in the airport parking garage. And I'm like, this is awesome.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, right.
So good. And he's just like, he kept saying, he's like, I'm so glad I got this car. I'm so glad I got this car. I'm so glad I got this car. They can put the back seat down. And now he's like, I might upgrade to the Mazda 9. Has a little, like, an extra foot in the back, on the side, and like stuff like that. But
Awesome.
and then I'm sitting on top of him, and I like every like, I don't know, 5 minutes, I set a timer. Every 5 minutes I kind of do like a scan around, see if anyone's around. But it was so fun. And then he's like, I need to go pee and I need to get some coffee. I'll walk with you. So like we're walking through the airport, he walked me to where I needed to go. So it was just super sweet, and it's fun, and like this can be for anybody. Like, I'm not special. I just take initiative and I go with what lights me up. And he's so turned on by me being so turned on. Yeah. And he hasn't had a partner like that. And his last partner he was with, she couldn't meet him sexually. So she was encouraging him to open up their relationship so that he could still be with her. She wanted him, but she didn't want him. And so to be in a space where I am now, where we both want each other so much. And we had some pretty bumpy situations happen last week that really was awesome to like maneuver. But one of them was like, his ex was trying to get back in to the relationship and offering to be like a paramour. She still wanted some way to be connected with him in the relationship. Oh boy. And I was like, no. And my hard Dom, dark feminine came slaying through there. I was like, fuck no. She had her chance. No. Whatever this fantasy you guys have, this doesn't come into my room. This doesn't come into our dynamic. Fuck no. You want an open relationship? Go for it. Go hang out with her. That's fine. I deserve better. I want all of a man, and he deserves all of me. I'm not here to share. I don't want to share. I have no problem.
Wow, good for you, Jess.
But I'm like, fuck no. Oh, I laid it hard. And he backpedaled it was like kind of like someone like throwing a glass of water on you and being like, wake the fuck up. Like, this isn't okay. And what she was doing, she was playing some manipulation games, and I saw right through it. She sent him a message and was like, she had found out about my name, and then she decided to do some research apparently. And then she sent him a message and was like, how are things going with the Dom? And I recognized it. It bothered me for a few days, and I couldn't put my finger on it, but I recognized that she was using that term in a derogatory sense and to really like twist the knife in him. And I was like, bitch, are you fucking kidding me? I was okay with you being friends with him. I had empathy for your situation. I'm so sorry that you went through what you did. I understand what it's like to lose your best friend. But then you come into my territory. You speak derogatorily about me. You go and stalk me online. Get the fuck out of my life. You're done. It is done. And she lost out. So now she doesn't get any of him. And that's not because I'm saying you're not allowed to do this. I'm like laying down the boundary. Like, I will not
tolerate. So boundaries again.
Yeah, I will not tolerate somebody coming into our space. And because she doesn't get now what she had her chance for a year and a half. Fuck off.
Yep.
Too bad. And now here I am. That's like, I'm full on woman and intense and all of the things, and so deeply in adoration and smitten, very smitten. And I will stand for that. and I will not be okay with sharing. Fuck no.
And so he was okay, Jess? Did he support?
Not that there's anything wrong with sharing. It just doesn't
no,
for everybody.
Like, I have no problem with people being poly. I absolutely support it. I have no qualms about it. I want everyone to have what they want. Everyone can create a relationship that lights them up with consent. I fully support that. I have not deviated from that. Me personally, having been in a relationship dynamic where there was poly forced upon me, and recognizing that I chose to be in that dynamic, it didn't work out, but I recognize that's not what I want. It's never been what I've wanted. I've tried it to like appease the other partner, but that's not what I want. I want that like truly epic, like dissolve into each other, like we are the two that exist and we become one together, like that is what I hold. That's my holy grail for me. So how I'm and he is such a beautiful player in this, like, you know, we last week we practiced him picking me up at the bar, like it was our first time meeting each other, and we had so much fun. He's like, oh my God, I want to do this all the time. These aren't like new radical things. It's just like having the courage to say what you want, having the courage to take the guy's cock in your hand and start playing with it and putting your mouth on it and not asking for his permission or waiting or being like, oh, this is the moment where now we need to go do this thing. It's like, no, I'm turned on. I'm here in the moment. This feels really yummy. I'm going for it. It's having the boundaries and being like, you know what, like, this is where I'm at right now. Who knows? Maybe 3 years from now, if we're in a like we're so committed and loving each other. Like Lisa, you didn't step into poly in your first month of knowing somebody. You stepped into poly after being married for a decade. So everybody has
absolutely.
You know. So I'm in the space and state right now where I'm like, I'm here to play. I've been looking for my playmate my entire life. I've been looking for my playmate my entire life, someone that is going to be present and open and curious and creative and fun and say yes and just say yes. Really, it's like saying yes. And what happens when he says yes is like epic beyond anything that he could dream, you know? And so there's a lot of women that are probably like, oh my God, I could never, you know, but actually you can. If you desire it, actually you can, if you're willing to let go of what has been deemed as inappropriate or whatever. So yeah.
Just on that note, teach us something else. I'm like dying. I love that.
Actually, I actually have a question about what you have been teaching us. Is John, I have apparently learned very well how to edge. I seem to be quite good at that. I had a real problem last weekend getting him to finish, which it's not me, I get that, but are there some things that I could do that might help? Because I realize that you can get to a point during worship or a blowjob or whatever it is that you're doing, where you've got them right at that moment. And any little shift or change, it's the same thing that happens to me too. Any shift or change you can lose that moment and lose the ability to come in that moment. And I'm wondering that happened to me for an hour. I'd get him right there and he wasn't able to finish. And so I'm wondering if there's any other little trick that I could use that might help.
So Josh, for instance, I've been having I don't want to say a challenge. Oh yeah, it's been a challenge to like get him to finish, honestly. And he'll be in that blissful orgasmic state for long periods of time, and he's like just super happy there. And I was like, wow, I'm really grateful that you're not frustrated, right? With like blue balls or, you know, something like that. And he's like, no, he's like, I'm so grateful you have the patience that you do to spend the time that you have to like bring me up to this amazing space. Like, you know, how lucky. So there's definitely, you know, they talk about the $1 million spot. There's also the piece, I can't remember the term, but it's at the head of the penis at the top, you know, so there's the flap there's like kind of the slope piece, but then on the other side of the cock head there's like a little groove, like, you know what I mean, there, and that spot is very arousing for men. So that spot is one that you can like start like, you know, moving your thumb over very quickly. I do a combination of like a hand job with a blow job, and kind of playing around. I also incorporate prostate pulsing and things like that, prostate touch. It just depends on the moment and what it's going for. And sometimes, you know, edging is great until it's almost like an overload to their system.
Yes,
so
that's what I think I'm
know,
getting.
Yeah. So it's like almost like they can't handle any more of it. Like their bodies are just like, I'm short circuiting. I'm not used to computing this. And so like even saying like, you know what, let's take a break. Let's have a snack. Like, let's take a nap, or, you know, like giving their body a chance to like kind of like recalibrate, and then going again can also be something. So we've done that where it's like he'll get so close, and he has this thing where everything feels amazing. He's right there. He can feel it. I'm in the same move. I am not deviating. I mean, I'm like really sticking to exactly what's working for him. And then it's like, it just goes away. And he's like, it just went away. And I was like, okay. And then, so he's like, do we keep doing this for an hour? You know, maybe we'll come back in 5 minutes. Maybe we'll come back in 20. Maybe we'll come back in an hour. Like, you know, we don't know. So it's just kind of like troubleshooting and working through that. The other piece too is that if guys are masturbating a lot, then they can be extra desensitized. So like Josh is changing up his self-pleasuring routine because I spend as much quality, juicy time down there. He's like, there's no substitute. What am I doing? So he's cutting back on that, and that's actually helped him become more sensitive. He's orgasming more frequently. He's having more intense orgasms. So there's like a lot of juicy things that come from that. So I would say taking the break, you know, I would say try on taking a break and asking him to not masturbate in like the day or two leading up to seeing each other. Or if he does, making it very short, like 5 or 10 minutes, like not long term. But I would say, you know, see what happens when you do that.
Okay. Well, okay. That could have been the problem too. He came 3 times in 24 hours. So I guess I shouldn't blame him, but it took a little while. He wasn't upset. That
happened to Josh too. That same thing. He came 3 times in a day, which was like insane to him. Like it was like, oh my God, there's a whole world I didn't even know existed. This is the world of 3 orgasms in a day. I don't know. How do I function in this new world?
How do I stop?
How do I stop? Does this thing keep going? And so that's the thing too, like, especially as you become more sexual, like for me, a couple of weeks ago, like, I don't know, like maybe 3 or I think maybe like a week-ish into seeing Josh, there was a day where like my pussy didn't smell great. And I'm very self-conscious about it. And I was like, smells a little off. I'm not sure what's going on. And I was, super self-conscious. He's like, I can't tell. It doesn't matter. I don't care. But I think for women, in our heads constantly, we're like, how does it smell? How do I taste? Am I wet enough? Or am I too wet? And I have like, I mean, it's amazing how much it's been very healing to be with him as a partner. But what happened was, I think because I hadn't had sex, or the volume, like the frequency of sex I have with him, I haven't had that in so long, that my body's like, oh, I need to create more juice. Like, oh, it's like our bodies start shifting biologically and chemically to support whatever it is we're going through in our life. So it was almost like turning a faucet on that maybe had been stuck for a while. So it was like the odor wasn't great, but then it was fine. And it went away. And then I'm just like super, super juicy, which is amazing. It was so fun. So in terms of something that you can do new with your man, when Lisa was talking about the difference between giving a hand job or a blow job, honestly, it's not so much the tool or the technique, but it's more the mindset. I think that if we, as women or partners, we chose to shift our mindset in how we go into this approach, and really loving it, right? Because how many times have you been with a guy where they're like, oh my God, I really love going down on women, and you're like, bull fucking shit, you do. Bullshit. There's no fucking way. He's just saying that, right?
Yeah, right.
Oh, I could do it for hours. Yeah.
100%. I'm with you.
You are the rarest of the rare. I know when you're like kind of choking on it. I know when your head's kind of stuck. I know when you're just kind of like breathing through it. I know. So, and that doesn't put us in a good headspace, right? Because again, like, how am I smelling? How do I taste? And why am I not fucking coming already? He's been licking me for 10 minutes. Like, this should be happening. What the fuck, right? So then we're like in our heads. The guy is trying to do his best to some level of degree. And, and then also let's add in that women very rarely will speak up and say what feels good, right? Mm-hmm. So then the guy is like, he doesn't even have a flashlight to go by with this exploration. Like, he's in there. He's licking. He's trying to read the signs because women tend to be quite quiet and don't say what they want. And, he's just kind of like fumbling. Like, can I get a sign here? Oh, she's breathing. Yeah. Okay. That might be fine. So we don't coach them. We set them up for failure, and we expect our partner to know our bodies better than we do. And so for me, like, shifting the mindset out of, well, I know that he likes it when this happens, or I know I make him really happy. No, don't fucking do it. Do not come from that mindset. It will hurt your relationship. If you have challenges, if you need to speak up, if you're like, God, I really want to give you a blowjob, but I'm just not feeling it. I don't know how else can I'd love to do something for you that turns you on. Because I want to give you a blowjob. I just don't want to right now in this moment, or whatever it is. But like, communication and all that's so important. But to me, it's like, shift the mindset. If you were to give like something, if you think about something that you love more than anything on this earth, and we all have something where we're like, oh my God, I love cooking more than anything. I love playing with my puppy more than anything. I love going out for drinks more than anything, whatever it is. And if you were to take that same kind of like, oh my God, I love this so much, and you gave a week of you doing that to your partner, see what happens in your life. See what happens if you were to take that same level of excitement and enthusiasm and vigor and virility and joy and engagement and presence, and you were to take that same thing and put that on your partner. I would be very eager to hear what happens in your relationship in that week.
That's a really great point, Jess, because I think, like we spoke about before, I mean, things maybe become stale or life happens, but if you inner focus and, take time and be present and to be excited about it, I agree with you. How can it not improve? Like off the charts. If you're open enough, off the charts, right? Just be present and enjoy.
How can you not? It's exciting and it's fun. And again, there's so much to explore. Lisa has shared so openly with how much fun it is to be in a poly relationship, and that is like a 100%. I mean, there's so many options you can do. There's so much to play. For me right now, play looks like giving my man blowjobs on the drive out of the airport. Like that feels fun. And like pretending we're strangers and we don't know each other at the bar, and then trying to pick each other up, and and it's like so there's just such a spectrum of play, but with intimacy, and you can do that with honor and love and integrity and curiosity. So yeah, how's that land for you, Lisa?
Yes, that's exactly right. I think the thing that one of the things I did when I first started playing or making an online presence for my poly relationships was I created an account with Instagram and the name of it is I Ask for What I Want. And yeah. And it was because it was really important for me to remember and constantly remind myself that I'm what I want and what I feel. I'm sorry, hold on just a second. What I want and what I feel really requires it's my responsibility. So if I want an orgasm and I'm not getting it and I'm really enjoying the head that is between my legs, I can enjoy that for as long as I want, but I'll tap out and say, I need a break. I'll tap out and say, just a longer, slower stroke. I've learned to do that, but honestly, I've only learned to do that in the last probably 3 or 4 months. Every week I'm learning something new and as I learn it, if I'm not coming, like the other day, I was playing with my Sapio and he was the one that I was doing all of these lovely maneuvers with, worshiping his cock. And, he came hard. He had a great time. We'd been playing at it for, I don't know, probably 90 minutes, couple of hours at least. And I still hadn't actually had a really hard orgasm. So I was like, do you mind if I go get my wand? And I used it and he watched and he enjoyed it. He held it for a little while and then he completely took over the use of it. And oh my gosh, I came so hard. And then he left it there. And I'm like, no, you can take it off. You can take it off. You can take it off. He's like, no. And he kept moving it in different directions. And he took me to a whole nother place. And it was a fantasy that I had always had to do that, but I'd never asked for it. And intuitively he did it. And and as long as I was giggling and laughing and responding and not giving him a safe word, that dynamic was working. He was not doing anything against my will. I was like, oh no, you could stop. He's like, no. If I had said, I can't take this anymore, please stop, or used a safe word, he totally would have stopped. But in that experience, I got to experience something I had never experienced before. And now I'm going to ask for it, not all the time, but now I know I want that. So yeah, please, once I come, don't be afraid to leave it there because it'll take me to a whole different space. So that whole, that requirement for a level of communication, even polyamory aside, just for pleasure is so important. Actually, did you talk about already the bossy massage?
No. Bossy massage?
Do you want to explain a bossy massage? Because
Sure.
Your explanation to me of that, and I did it once, not quite successfully, a couple of years ago, really helped me get it clear in my head how specific sometimes I need to be.
Yeah, so the bossy massage is something that I learned from a fantastic guy, man in Paris named Joe Jam. And Joe has spent decades studying many different modalities and bodywork therapies. And one of the things is he'll often work with women that, they've, stuff's happened for them in their life, or maybe they're just not comfortable asking for what they want. And so the bossy massage is literally, he is going to do exactly what you tell him, and he's not going to deviate. And he's going to do the same thing until you tell him to stop or change or something. So if they'll say, like, I want you to massage my shoulders. And he's like, okay, how do you want me to massage your shoulders? Well, softly. Okay. How about this? Is this how soft? Yes. Okay. And he'll continue doing it, and he'll let them know, like, I will continue doing this stroke and this move until you change it, until you say, what else do you want? And so it's a very safe way. So many things. One, it takes a lot of the pressure off of the person giving the massage, because they don't need to try to figure things out. They can do exactly what the person receiving is telling them. For the receiver, it's super empowering for them, because instead of feeling like, oh, I'm at the mercy of however this person's going to touch me, I don't really have much of a say. It's quite the opposite. Like they have to say what they want, period. Or it's just going to stay exactly where it is. And in a way, it's kind of like, so I learned this from Midori, you know, in BDSM, they think that there's like the dominant, submissive, sadist, masochist. That's how it's like you're one or the other, but it's not that. There's actually a lot of nuance. And so in that kind of state of mind, she would be the receiver, the woman would be considered the dominant masochist, meaning she is telling you exactly what she wants to receive, which goes into another story that I'll tell another day about being at the dominatrix's wedding reception and that whole situation, that story, which is kind of like what kind of kicked off this whole series, was that experience and sharing it with you both. So, but the dominant masochist is someone that is very explicit with what they want to experience and what they want to receive. And then the person giving it is the submissive sadist, meaning for just simplified terms, he is the one that is carrying out the desire of the person on the receiving end of what they want. So the bossy massage is super fun, and it's like really easy. And it's not easy because it takes the person to be able to ask for what they want and say it.
Great way to start. Asking what you want.
Asking for what you want. This continues to come back in our conversations and in our podcasts. It comes back to that. What is it that you want? And you know what's really interesting? Someone that is as confident as I am in my life, I still get shy, and Josh gets like awestruck that I get shy about certain things. Like him going down on me. He's like, I would really like to go down on you. I'm like, okay, if you want to. And he's like, who is this person? Like, yeah. You know, that's like so happy to like jump onto me and pleasure my cock. Who is this? Like, and I say, like, you know, I am pretty shy about asking for what I want. Still, I'm still doing a lot of work on that, but especially if he's going down on me, I'm like, yeah, I'm still shy about it. So we all have our growth, you know, we all have these pieces of us to still move through and feel and express. So, but he's on board and we have fun.
Absolutely love it.
Well, so has what I shared, has that helped you at all, Ella?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I absolutely love our conversations. I'm sure our listeners do as well. I don't know how you can't. And again, opens our eyes and just thank you for being so transparent, you two.
And it opens our hearts. You know, what the intention is to give people information that they may not have been aware of in the first place. You know, eventually we'll start getting listeners' questions and be able to answer them as well, because we may not be covering topics that people do have questions about. And I want to make sure that everybody knows that I'm not sure I can think of a sexual topic or relationship topic that I'm unwilling to discuss. Right. So anything, we're wide open in terms of addressing the needs of our listeners. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, beauties, for being here, for continuing to share with us and give us glimpses. Sounds like you've got a really hot, sexy night tonight with your date on their 20th wedding anniversary. So it'll be great to hear how that went on our next call. And
I will.
You know, we're going to continue to do that.
Guess what they gave me for my birthday?
I can hardly wait. Please tell us.
A portable hot tub. So we're spending today setting it up so that the four of us at the end of their night be able to sit in it and have a little hot tub time.
Oh,
That
It's
is
not sexy
so,
time. It's just
so
literally hot
sweet.
tub time. So yeah, it was really pretty freaking cool. Which actually was also funny because I got an ad on my Facebook for this brand of hot tub 2 days before they gave it to me. And I bet it's because Google, Facebook, whomever tracks the things that the people around me are interested in, and then also sends me the things. So that might be something we want to talk about is cybersecurity. If you're cheating and you're buying jewelry for somebody and those kinds of jewelry pops up, you may realize that maybe your honey is, looking at things and you're not getting any jewelry. It's a possibility that that might be a way to figure out who your honey is, or what your honey is buying, is the tracking that comes up because of association on the ads that come up on your own Facebook. We were laughing so hard about that because it could have totally given away the fact that I knew I was getting a hot tub. Because we just randomly, this hot tub showed up on my Facebook ads. And it was their own Amazon account that they bought it on. So it's really weird. So that might be fun to chat about too. So, okay. I didn't mean to.
Amazing. Well, thank you both.
I know.
thank you, ladies. Have a great time tonight, Lisa.
Thank you.
Yes, drive safe or fly safe when you come home.
Thank you. Enjoy. Enjoy your
All
time.
right,
with
bye,
your loved
everyone.
ones.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Want more? Head over to theplayfulpodcast.com for all the juicy things we have to offer. From there, you can join our community where you can get access to after hours, attend upcoming workshops and events, and even book a session. Bye for now.